Um, and Kunku, you mentioned him. We've just mentioned him now. Massive loss. Apparently, he's out until January. I think it's a massive injury for him to pick up, and almost Armando Broja all over again. But how big of a loss will Nkunku be for us for the first part of the season?
Yeah, it's a big loss. It's a huge loss. I feel like when you mentioned Nicholas Jackson not being that kind of blockbuster signing of the likes of Harry Kane, Osimhen, or one of those strikers, you could maybe put Nkuku in that bucket and kind of class him as one of those big money signings where I think we spent 60 million on him. Transfer talks had already begun to sign him under Thomas Tuchel, continued under Potter, and then we managed to kind of confirm it under Pochettino. So it was kind of a long going kind of saga to bring him to Chelsea Football Club. And we saw what he's capable of doing in pre-season. He's a goal scorer. He was I think he was the top goal scorer or level goal scorer in the Bundesliga last season, and that was having missed, I think, a large portion of the games as well. So we do know that he's kind of got this injury record. He is injury prone, like you mentioned before. So when he does recover, whether that be December, January, we're going to have to kind of treat him with a bit of caution, maybe wrap him up in the cotton wool. Maybe don't play him too often, which is a bit annoying because we've just become so accustomed to kind of having these players that are now so injury prone, the likes of Ben Chilwell, Reece James. So yeah, it's a big loss, especially when you kind of wanted him to be the kind of first name on the team sheet going into Sunday's game against Liverpool, but now that's no longer going to be the case. But yeah, we've just got to go kind of make do with what we've got now, and it might also mean that Pochettino might have to reevaluate who he wants to sign, maybe bring in another number 9, another goal scorer. There's still talks about a swap deal between Vlahovic and Lukaku with Juventus. We're going to have to wait and see if that goes through. But I think Pochettino might want to add another goal scorer. I mean, personally, I'd love to see João Felix come back to Chelsea. Maybe whether that be on loan or kind of agree kind of some kind of cut price deal with Atletico Madrid, because there's no way we're going to spend over 100 million for him. But yeah, I still think there's one last big signing on top of the Caicedo, Lavia midfield signings. I think it's maybe a goal scorer signing that might still kind of materialize before the transfer window closes because of the Nkunku injury.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think you don't want to go into that season with lack of firepower up front. You want to have options. Yes, we're not in the Champions League, we're not in any European competitions, but I think you still need to have options. If we lose Nicholas Jackson to an injury, who's the backup? Armando Broja will be back eventually. I think he's back in sort of team training or he's ending his rehabilitation shortly, but we need options up front, and obviously, like I said, Lukaku is not part of those plans. Excuse me, but no, I think I think we've got to get someone in, and I think that has to be an ultimate top transfer target after Caicedo, maybe Lavia, one of the two, whichever one we're going to try and go for. But